VO Radio would like to know, are you a fan of YouTube? Introducing VO Radio Live Tubees.
When I wake up every day, I get on YouTube and check the front page. I scroll, and what do I see? Oh, what a surprise.
Be sure to send your email to ask@voradioonline.com. Now it's time for this week's VO Tubee on VO Radio and YouTube.
Hi there. Welcome to VO Tubees. It's that time again. I'm Stacy Barrow, and I'm here with Chef Deb Monroe, Bev Standing, and Anthony Reese. Happy Friday. You can text us, and we really want you to, so please do. That text number, because it's kind of a new thing for us, is 970-682-3424. That's 970-682-3424. So please text us, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about live on the show here. And I would also like to say you can still email us the normal way at ask@voradioonline.com. And VO Tubees is something different than our VO Radio live show, but you're still welcome to use the app because there's an email icon right there on the app too. I'd like to thank our sponsors. We've got VoiceOver Extra, the Vorg, the VoiceOver Collective, and Nava. So I think we might have some emails, or what do we have going on today, Anthony?
Well, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the topic we're going to be discussing today, and that is a topic that's been brought up by a lot of people. We did a survey of VO Radio, and several people asked if we could spend more time talking about business-related tool stuff for voiceover studios and home-based Soho offices and what have you. So that's basically what the topic we're going to talk about is business tools and the basics tools that everybody needs at the beginning, the branding, bookkeeping, and invoicing in our first block here. And then we're going to talk about a lot of other stuff in the second and third block. So we guess we'll jump right into that. We do have a couple texts and emails that have came in that we'll be addressing later in the show. But to start right out, let's share some thoughts of what if somebody's just getting into business or they're in business and have really the desire to refresh and revamp their entire organization, if you will, of their voiceover business. They're actually starting to see returns and business coming in. What would you say are some of the most basic things relevant to branding and bookkeeping and invoicing they should keep in mind as they're moving forward as a voiceover talent? Deb, you want to take a stab at that right out the gate?
Sure. I think maybe what I'll do is just start off with a blanketed understanding for everybody, because some of you that are newer might not understand that 50% of what we do is performance.
Right.
But the other 50% that we do is business. And so if your business skills aren't savvy, it's something you kind of need to learn, because you actually are the product. That's what makes our industry so unique. We actually are the product. It's very rare you're the product. It really is. It's a very rare situation. And so we can't just get someone to easily replace us. We have to know what we're doing. And then we have to go out there and sell ourselves. So you have to be confident to go, yeah, I'm worth hiring. And that has to show in how you present yourself online, which is what the main purpose is being available. We need to be able to find you. And that's why the business side of websites and business cards and emails and things like that is important. I think I'd like to start with the name, because I think a lot of people will benefit from what I went through, which is, first of all, there's a lot of different spellings to my name. So Deb Monroe, VO, I own for many, many years. In fact, it's kind of my email chain, but it doesn't say much about me. It doesn't say it says what I do, thank goodness, but that's it. When I first started, I had Shanty Productions. And there's many different spellings. It was my dog's name. It had no relevance to the voice acting industry. In fact, I was producing at the time and casting. And so I learned by my mistakes that I had to rebrand myself several times. So if I could leave something very important to start off with, is that yourname.com is not necessarily the best brand, because number one, it doesn't describe what you do. Many of you younger ones have names that we don't even know how to spell. So that makes it very hard, or even say, never mind that. So I feel the best thing to start with is having an idea of what is your company? What does it represent? And I think that you start with your personality. personally, when I brand people, which I think is a starting of it, other than understanding the skills to voice, I'm always looking for their personality traits and their hobbies more than the voice or the wave graph or the headsets or everything else that we use. It's like, so I use VO Chef Deb because what it allows me is a creative outlet to play in. It's also memorable. Everybody calls me the chef now. So that becomes something really fun that I got to do. But most importantly, I feel your company name, your brand name should reflect something you can easily leave behind. And we talked recently about leave behinds on VO Radio on Wednesday. So please do listen to that on demand so you can hear more about that stuff. But I think you have to have something that is free, easy, not costing you a bunch to mail out. And so I have my recipes and I do love to cook. That's why I have that brand. It's my passion. My second passion is cooking. And so I just feel that we should start recognizing that our name.com might not be the best thing. So what I learned, your name must describe what you do and a bit of your personality, be easy to spell, and be super easy to find. If you are going to own something that has multiple spellings, own all the .coms to it if you can.
That's
How
smart.
about we
Good
start with
points.
that?
What do you think, Bev? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I love that you go to that because I can be found at bevstanding.com. But
So true.
because I didn't know that back in the day, and I'm now been doing it so long, it seems silly to change it because why would you?
Right.
But if you look up, there's only one other Bev Standing in the world that I'm aware of, and we know each other. So how's that? Do your homework. And I think I did my homework before I picked that because there wasn't a lot. And you should do your homework before you do that. And you go to pick a website and you go to pick your name, because if your name is John Doe, there might be billions of John Does. So what makes you stand out? But not only that, look up, just say Bev Standing voice actor, voiceover, and see what other ones come up, because you just need something to know that they want to find you. You want them to find them when they're looking for you, right? So that's important. And I also think you should keep it simple, and that your website should be fairly basic, especially when you're starting out. And I agree with Deb. Have some personality. Have it. They keep saying in the reads, be authentic. Well, your website should be authentic.
Right.
It should really just be you. Business cards, you can do them online. You can have them on your phone. You don't even need to print them these days, although, it doesn't hurt. But, just keep it simple. They don't have to be fancy when you're starting out. So that's something to look at. You can have a very basic business card that's the least expensive of all your options, and change it down the road. Who cares? It's still the same information on there. It's still your website, your phone number and stuff. And if something that's really quirky comes out, print those, but it's the same information. So it's getting your information right from the start. The other thing I want to say is when you're running a business, and Anthony, you pointed out when you're already getting work and stuff, but it's still a business. From the day you start to the day you end, it is a business. And every decision I have made, even the TikTok thing, was a business decision, right? Every piece of software, every hardware, everything was a business decision. It wasn't like, ooh, that looks pretty. Is it pretty good for what I do? Like, you have to really think about that. So I think that's my thing, is just treat it like a business. You're the president, and all the other things you do are your employees.
Really cool. Stacey Barrow, top of mind. What are you thinking about all this?
Okay. Well, in the beginning, we really laser focus on every single detail because you feel like you only have one shot at it, and that's not true. So your website, that's your foundation. We don't have a brick and mortar, so that's your business right there. So all of that adds credibility to you. One thing that I often say is, just because you can do something and you want to save money doesn't mean you should.
Right.
So before I found Anthony, who helped me with my website, I built my own on GoDaddy, and I was so proud of myself because I never really did that before, but it was kind of friendly, and I had this one-page thing, and it was okay. And a lot of people know more than me, but, I'm like, oh, I did it. But I realized that how I was trying to upload my demos and things like that, it didn't make sense because it was really pointing to SoundCloud and pointing people in the direction of hearing other voiceover talent as well, and some other things, and it wasn't feasible, and I really couldn't upload actually to that site. So the moral of that story is just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, and also doesn't mean that you should spend your energy focused on all those. If you can have somebody who's a professional do those things for you, great. There's people who do things at a reasonable cost too. It's just that you want to focus your energy on your craft and your training and getting out there and doing your marketing and doing auditions and things like that. At this moment, I want to present the question to you guys. Right now, I keep track of my clients in Excel, and I know there are better ways to do it. What kind of customer management system do you guys use? Because now I want to make sure that I can remember the details about my customers, who's the contact person, just a few notes about them, how to work with them, and the best ways to contact them.
Well, let's do this. Let's hold that thought, because
Okay.
in block 3, we do talk about networking. So let's
Oh.
focus in on what we're going to do in this block for the listeners and viewers out there. So that's
Okay.
a great point, though. That's part of the networking 101 for sure.
Okay.
Branding, we covered pretty much. Great tips from Deb, Bev, and Stacy, throwing some tips about your branding thoughts out there. Let's talk shortly, right to the point, if we can, about bookkeeping. A lot of people don't understand that as a voiceover talent, you are still a subcontractor, independent. You're still going to get 1099 or whatever have you, your K1 or whether things are on the tax purposes here in the States, especially. You do have to keep track of your ins and outs as a voiceover talent. If you're making over 400 or 599 or 699 or whatever, people have to actually still send you a tax form claiming they paid you a certain amount of money, and you do have to claim that, or the IRS will find you sooner or later. You'll be in trouble with all these back taxes, especially here in the States. I'm not sure, you guys can speak to Canada in a minute, but I know in the States, bookkeeping is pretty important. The beauty about bookkeeping is it can be simple, especially with PayPal today. The PayPal system will give you not only a report and all kinds of reports you can get, but they can give you a free debit card to access your funds. But that way you can keep track of your income and your expenses. If you start to find that you're generating revenue, PayPal is the simplest way to go. I know there's Quicken, there's QuickBooks, and all these other ones. What's your guys' thoughts with regards to something simple that people can keep in mind to keep track of their books as a voiceover talent?
I recommend actually Wave Apps. Wave Apps, WAV Apps, it does all of it. It does my invoicing. It keeps record of everything. And I know PayPal does as well, but with Wave Apps, I can also get different forms of payment from it. So a client can actually pay directly by credit card with my Wave App invoice. And I'm not saying that you can't with PayPal, but with PayPal, you have to have an account and all the other stuff that goes with it.
It's
so a
called
lot of clients don't like
Wave Apps.
Wave Apps, WAVAPPS.
Cool.
It has been phenomenal for me. My assistant introduced it to me, and that's what he uses to keep track of everything. But I still have to have a Stripe account. I still have to be able to take certain things. So I have like 3 different forms of payment to be paid. And I do want to say, just going back to the branding thing, I think it's very important people understand that you have to be able to accept payment in whatever name you create. So right now we're talking online payments, but I get a check almost every week. So I get a lot of checks. So in those checks, I've had them written out to Shanty Productions, and I don't own it anymore. Or they write it out to Deb Nordine, which is my married name, and I don't actually have a bank account with that. You have to make sure whatever you own, you can accept it, and you do what's called a business nuance report. So you can look up those names, make sure it's available, and make sure it's not done. And if you find someone that's similar to you, you want to adjust that, like what Bev was talking about before. I think that bookkeeping is extremely important. I hire an assistant for it because I'm actually probably the worst talent in the world because I don't care about money.
Right.
I really don't. And I know that sounds so stupid. I've just been so blessed that I've always followed my passion and it pays back. But I didn't keep track of my money and I wasn't invoicing properly. And clients were getting pissy with me, to be honest. They were just like, Deb, it's the year end. We can't pay you now. I was like a year late on invoicing people. And some of you, maybe you wouldn't get there, but I was. And so I just think it's very, very, very crucial. If you can't keep up to it, hire someone who can.
That's so funny you just brought that up, because Glenn just actually texted in and he asked, can you guys explain a DBA? We're talking about bookkeeping. Does this legally fall under bookkeeping? And that's so funny you just said that right when it came in, because DBA is a doing business as. You can register with your state. I'm not sure in Canada what they do, but in the States, you are supposed to legally be under a DBA, an alias, a pseudonym, whatever they want to call it. The reason is exactly what Deb just said, is because you have to be able to accept payments sometimes. One client may pay you in your name. Another client may pay you in the business name you go under, your DBA, your fake name, whatever, production company of whatever. So that is something to be considerate about. You want to think about having your registration so that it costs like $35. You don't have to incorporate. You don't have to create a shell. You don't have to create an LLC, but you have to register as a sole proprietor, DBA, as doing business as,
Right.
and that allows you to accept payment in those names, your DBA and or your legal name. Therefore, your bank, I'm not sure how aggressive PayPal is about it, but in your bank then will accept that check or that wire transfer in either one of those two names. So Glenn, I'm glad you wrote that in.
It's important to know as well. You might write it, you think it's very clear on your invoice to your client, and they will still screw it up. So you've got to own all of it. Anything that's on that invoice, you need to own and register so that the bank can register it for you.
Really cool. Bev, what are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts about the bookkeeping and keeping track of ins and outs?
I'm a Deb Monroe. I have done that. And I am lucky. I have had 2 jobs in my entire life that I have not been paid for. One was because the guy bailed and the client went, well, I paid him and he bailed and I was out of luck. And one because I kind of went, oh, I never actually sent that invoice. But I use QuickBooks, and I use QuickBooks because I too have a bookkeeper. I used to do books when my kids were little, and I understand the basics, but the laws keep changing and accountants are expensive. So my bookkeeper doesn't do any invoicing for me. I do all that myself. I send out the invoices, I follow up on the invoices, and I record when a payment is made. But she does everything else. And then when I go to my accountant, it's like, oh, well, I've got everything I need. You're done. Right. And I'm paying her 3 times an hour what I pay my bookkeeper. Right. So to me, that made sense. And I don't have to worry about it. It's done. I don't have to worry about the laws. Yes, it is different. But let's not get in there because a lot of our listeners are not established listeners yet. So my word of advice with keeping records of stuff like that is get yourself a separate credit card. Period. You buy nothing with cash. You buy nothing with debit. Every expense you do for the voiceover business goes on this one credit card. Why? Because it comes off what you make and lowers taxes. It's just common sense. What you make, I make $100, but I spent $50. I'm only getting taxed on $50 because my company only earned $50. Right? So you write off certain expenses.
So you're saying
you do that no matter what? I'm confused a bit.
Yeah,
because
I'm confused too about
what.
that myself.
Yeah, no matter what. So when you're starting out and it's just a hobby, you don't even claim those you don't claim that as a business. It's your personal income. But when you separate it and make it a business, you need to know how much you're spending and how much you're getting back. Because how long are you going to go, well, I'm a member of this, and this, and this, and this. Ooh, I made $300. But at the end of the year, you've made 10,000, but you spent 15. You need to be aware of that. How do you be aware of that? Just be organized. Have all your expenses on your credit card.
Okay, so you're not saying that they can't use other things. It's just a way to separate it so it's quick and easy all in one. That's what you're saying?
Absolutely. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but if you're doing a business expense, why not use a credit card? Obviously, if you're doing coaching, it would have to be probably an online payment, and you can, so make a PayPal account for that, right? Use that email for that. So you can summarize your stuff, but just to keep it separate. A lot of people go out and they buy their mic and they buy their computer and they buy the programs and then they start trying to make money. And it's like, but you just spent all this. Like some of those are business write-offs. you can ask, you can go to a basic accounting firm and they'll tell you what you can and cannot write off. And it's different in every country. I wrote off a pair of shoes once that were the sparkle. I would never wear them again. They were a specific event, but I couldn't write off the dress because I could wear that again to somewhere else. It wasn't Vivo related, but the shoes were. Different people have different opinions, but I'm a very, very safe tax person. And so I do what my bookkeeper says. And then she says, I won't even put that in. I'll put your shoes in. I've seen them. You're never wearing those again.
That's definitely a unique way of looking at it. So
funny.
you run with that, take it as you want, from a standpoint of ins and outs of keeping track of your books, your expenses. It's maybe different here in the States than it is in Canada, so it's a little bit different. Credit card, you have an interest and all that. We can talk about that even further down the road for sure. So be careful of that thought in your mind. We want to take a quick
Can I just
break.
say, Anthony,
Yeah.
very, very quickly, if you keep it separate and you go to a bookkeeper or an accountant, they'll say, yep, nope, but it's all there,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, beautiful. Go ahead, Stace.
I really do look forward a little later on in our show where we talk about what programs we're using. Like you're talking about QuickBooks, because I really didn't mean it totally like for networking. The books is where I'm looking at too, because it's negative as far as money goes until you get a few years into it. And then I'm looking for the best ways. I'm familiar with QuickBooks, but I use PayPal and just, looking for the best ways to do my books and keep track of the details of my customers.
Awesome. Great point. Hey, we're going to come up with a block 2. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff like networking, social media, even expand a little bit more on the books and websites. And we also have that Name That Tune coming up where you get a chance to win here at where are we? VO Tubee. Let's see. I'm in that Let's Talk VO mindset still. So
Love that.
hey, thanks for tuning in. We'll be right back. Everybody stick around here shortly. Hang on.
This VO2B is sponsored by
Your voiceover career is dynamic and moving fast, and market trends for voice actors are constantly changing. So having the right resources to stay on top of your game is critical to your success. That's why VO pros and newcomers alike rely on VoiceOverExtra.com daily as their one-stop resource for voiceover success. Cut through the social media noise and find the information you need fast at VoiceOverXtra.com. It's the right resource for you now.
Hello, radio listeners. Jay from the VoiceOver Resource Guide here, currently recording from my travel booth on the VO Road, where Meg and I have already dropped off a stack of Vorgs at Digital One and ADS Recording in Portland, Oregon. We're taking these puppies across the country, so let us know if there's a studio near you that needs some Vorg in their lives this summer. Hopefully we'll see many of you at One Voice in Dallas this August. And don't forget to tag us, you, and your Vorg at some point on social media for a chance to win a microphone. Hashtag TheVorg77.
Somebody has to be the best in the business.
Elevate your voice with NAVA, the National Association of Voice Actors. As a nonprofit association, NAVA is dedicated to the advocacy and protection of all our voices and for championing the equitable advancement of the voice acting industry. Visit the website at navavoices.org today. NAVA, together they can protect the future of voice acting and make our voices heard.
Ever since 2011, navigating the incredible waters and waves of the voiceover industry has never been easier with the VoiceOver Collective by your side. Jump on board with Jay Preston and the VOC at thevoiceovercollective.com. The VOC can help you find the right classes and coaches, recommended books to read, discounted and amazing equipment, the right rates to charge, not to be missed events, and so much more. Bookmark the website, thevoiceovercollective.com, and we'll all rise together.
When I wake up every day, I get on YouTube, and what do I see? Oh, what a surprise.
Be sure to send your email to ask@voradioonline.com. VO Tubee on VO Radio and YouTube.
And welcome back, everybody, to VO Tubies. Yay, we're live and on camera. That means I actually had to get out of my jammies today. That's very difficult for me. So thank you, everybody. You guys can text us and be a part of the show. We'd love to hear from you guys. 970-682-3424. And there's another typo. Anyway, 3424, guys. And that's how you get a hold of us. So 970-682-3424 if you want to speed it up for a speed read. Okay, let's talk VO. You guys got to be watching it Mondays and Wednesdays. We are not on camera at that point, but there's lots of information, much like we do here, just a little bit differently. Where here we're taking on one topic and breaking it down on that particular those particular episodes. We do multiple topics, and we'd love to hear from you what topics you guys want to hear. So make sure you're sending us your emails, texts, and all that good stuff. We'd love to thank our sponsors, the VoiceOver Resource Guide, of course, we love you. VoiceOver Extra, the VoiceOver Collective, and of course, Nava. And hello to all you people in Dallas. We're having a little FOMO. It's okay, but we'll get over it at the One Voice Convention. Now, we have been talking about business. Today is all about the business tools we need. We started off talking about the basics and branding and naming your company, a little bit on invoicing and bookkeeping, which is really important. And I just wanted a side note that Bev helped me remind me of. Wave Apps is free. WAV apps is free. So just so you know, and I've used it for many, many, many years. So I definitely will plug that for the company as well. Let's talk now. We started briefly talking about the websites and stuff. Let's talk about the websites, the social media, and the networking part of things, which I think is probably too much for just one segment, but let's try and do our best. Now, the websites, Stacey, you were talking about how you took it on your own. My theory to talent is save money everywhere you can. Accept your demo. And that doesn't mean buy the most expensive. It just means don't cheap out on it. And then your coaching. That's the places where I would invest the most, because those are the ones that are going to matter on your return. The websites and all that stuff, what matters on the website, if you can handle it yourself, I always recommend doing that, because as long as it looks professional, they don't need to know anymore. And like Bev said, it needs to be simple. The agents and the casting people are actually starting to hate all the individual clips, just so everybody knows. And the reason they're hating that is not that they don't like individual clips, because a lot of people put that on their website now. It's because there's too much. So we are very busy minds, most of us in the voice acting industry. Most of us are ADHD or something. And so with busy minds, we can have very cluttered websites. It's very important you keep it very simple. Your demo should be the first thing that they see, and they should not have to fish around for it. And I feel the most important thing on your website besides the demo is that your personality shines through. The colors you choose should be your favorites. Don't go with corporate. This is not a corporate industry. We voice as chipmunks and weirdos, and we're a wild bunch. There's nothing corporate about what we do, even though we voice for corporate clients. So don't assume that you should have a corporate looking website to be professional. What a professional website means is that it runs well. It looks decent. It doesn't look like you cheaped out. It looks like you spent some money, even if you didn't. And I think that's one of the most important things. Stacey, what do you think?
You know what? I agree with you. I do. Absolutely. But I think it's a tall order for somebody who's new.
No, I mean, if they're capable of doing it. And there's stuff like voiceactor.com that gives you templates. And so you can just go right in there and just fill in the blanks, add in your own picture. So there's lots of ways to do it, even if you're not experienced. But I get what you're saying.
And things like that. I don't think that everybody, well, I didn't when I was new, knows about those particular resources. If I had known about a template, I probably would have used that. And definitely it's like a credibility factor in everybody's personal opinion about what looks professional, about what they should. Actually, you just don't even know what you should have on the website, where you might have something you think is professional, but it may not make sense for voiceover. You know what I mean? It might be one thing or another. But my whole point really is, don't get bogged down in the nuts and bolts of what that should be. If you can't find a good template, like Deb said, or something, get help with it and move on, because it's not the most important thing. It just shows that you have a virtual storefront, so to speak, and a way to house your demos, and possibly a way for people to make payments. That's really helpful.
And you did the right thing, Stacey. You did an amateur website and you took it to a pro to critique, and that's what you guys should be doing. It at least gives you a grounding start. What do you think, Anthony? Oh, sorry, Stacey. Sorry.
No one would have found me. I thought I knew what I was doing, but really it would have just sucked all my energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a topic that we could spend an entire show on. I think in the future we will hold a VO Tubing on website because and social media in general, but website. I My experience is completely the opposite. I think websites is definitely one of the top three. Your website, your training, and your demo is a must. You got to have a really good brick and mortar, they call it. You got to have a good presence. And the reality is, it's like opening up a really nice pizzeria in the middle of an alley that nobody can see you back and tucked behind the dumpster and the doors and inches with flies all over the outside. No, it doesn't work that way. You got to have a really professional presence. First impressions all about how you look and fake it till you make it. And the reality is the website, not only cosmetically, the color scheme you're talking about, all that is important. So your entire branding is uniform across the board. Everything should jive together. But ultimately, what it comes down to is Google. We've talked about this before on Let's Talk VO. Google, MSN, DuckDuckGo now is a big one everybody's using. All of those are all about algorithms, spiders and crawlers, and SEO. And if your website is a do-it-yourself and save Home Depot mentality, all these click to cast lazy websites that are letting you pay a fee to go in and make your own cafe website, the reality is those sites are all fine and dandy. They look like they're self-made, but the reality is behind the scenes, there's all kinds of SEO stuff going on. There's a reason certain keywords are used. There's a reason certain languages on the pages. There's a reason there's certain amounts of the keywords without over spamming the keywords. There's all kinds of stuff that comes into play. So what I say about the website is, my experience, having been in the website world for my entire career, basically since it started in 99, 2000, the internet blew up, is it's a major must in your arsenal of training and demos and website. All the other social media stuff and LinkedIn and Facebook and all that are fine and dandy, but everything should point back to your website. Your website is your central distribution. Everything should channel in, and as limited amount of it should go back out. When you're spending big money to generate leads, you should not send those leads back to find other talent in a community you're involved in. The last thing you want to do is drive the cattle away from you and they go, wow, look at this. We're not in Kansas anymore. There's 3,500 other females out here. Wow. We want them to keep them, trap them, keep them captive at your site by offering them as much as you can to make them want to hire you. Less give them, the more they're going to go, well, the more you give them, the more they can go, all right, I've heard enough. So that's a whole discussion we'll have sometime on that less is more thing. The reality is a website is going to make or break you ultimately. This is just my opinion from being on both sides of it. I don't know anybody that I've done castings with, clients internationally, nationally, domestic, mom and pops, you name them, who doesn't go, well, what's the website at? Let me go take a look at them. They get credibility. They lecture your bona fide using the old brother out there thing. It lends credibility to your professionalism. So as soon as they think of you in an audition, the very first thing they do typically, even if they're at a pay to play, where they're in an escrow environment, they prepaid ahead of time, they still go to Google Stacey Barrel. They still go to Google. They want to look at you, hear you, see maybe some videos you've done, see some other stuff you've done. So website definitely is really important. The whole idea of do it yourself and save is going to ultimately make you possibly lose thousands, if not tens of thousands of jobs over the next couple of years. The SEO is, here's my final thought on SEO purposes. What's the value of SEO? And I paid a lot of money to get educated on this years and years ago to webmasters as far away as Australia who built my sites back in the day. The purpose of SEO and a good site with right keywords, right navigation, right sections, multiple pages indexed, not just a home page with an up and down, top to bottom scroll where it goes down the page, down the page, down the page. You got one page, is you got one page indexed then on the internet. The multiple pages, you have multiple pages that index on the internet, meaning you can add to multiple keywords, multiple categories, multiple search resources, multiple everything. The more pages, the better. And those pages are all relevant to those keywords and that content on that page. But here it is. If you're working with a client and if we're working with a customer who knows us, that's cool. If they know us, they all know about us, we're good to go. It's the 95% of the rest of the world that doesn't know who you are. If they cannot find you and you cannot keep yourself competitive in the categories like female voice actor in California, a search phrase or whatever, and you don't come up, they're never going to know about you unless they run across you through your agent or they run across you through a click to cast, pay to play type environment. They're never going to find you on the internet unless they can find you by somebody knowing how to build a proper website that has proper searchable slash responses when they type in certain phrases. So that's a thought, food for thought.
Yeah.
Something we'll talk about definitely in more in depth later.
I agree so much with the SEO. I think the SEO is super important,
Yeah.
but I've got to tell you, the only people that find me on the internet are usually scams. I'm usually finding the work, going through casting, people going through agents. And for me, as a client, the last thing I'm going to do is type in female voice talent because I'm going to get 5 million things. And so
that's why the goal is to rank up.
The SEO is the absolute most important thing about that website to make sure it's drawing in there. But we heard a casting panel last year, casting and agents, and they said they don't care about the content. They just want to get to your demo and get the hell off of there. That's what they want to do. So it just all depends on where you're at in your career and what you're looking for. But that SEO is so important. Stacey, you had a comment?
Yeah. And you know what? When you're new, don't think pie in the sky. Just because you're there doesn't mean you're going to get jobs from being on the internet. You just need to be there as a credibility thing, and you have to have that in order to show your foundation when asked.
Well, where are you going to put your demo? Where are you going to put your darn demo, right? Like if anything,
but that's
it's just
not
a holder.
But that's not what I mean. It's your foundation, it's your brick and mortar, but don't think that you're going to get like all these jobs. Just because you build it doesn't mean your jobs will come through there. And I have a separate email that we made just when I know that there's communication from the website alone. And, mom and pops may find you and everything, but don't be worried that all of a sudden, just because you made a site, you're going to get this influx of jobs. It's not like that. It's just part of your foundation.
Nor is it like that with you have an agent. If you put all your eggs in the basket of an agent and you're sitting back waiting for a pay to play or an agent, they're going to send you a lot of auditions. That doesn't mean they're going to get you gigs.
And like Christine Leslie was saying,
it's a balance of that. It's a balance of agent and you and your own marketing and your own promotion of your website, getting hits and traffic to your website. That is a very important area that a lot of people rely upon. Well, if I sign up with a roster of an agency, my life's going to turn. Well, guess what? You and 700 other people that she sends out to casting to that day. All right. So what would you rather have? An audition from an agent where you're competing with several hundred other females, or somebody who comes to your website and they're one-on-one potentially looking at you for hiring you? I'd rather have my bulk of my marketing in that. Then at least that's my experience.
And just like Christine Leslie had said on Wednesday, the clients do research you guys. So when they do hire, they want to know who they're hiring. Bev.
I just want to say that I think it's just important to be found. I think you've all said that. If you have a website and someone goes to look you up and you don't exist, it's the reverse. If you look, someone reaches out to you and their client, you go to a website, you go, oh, you're this company and it doesn't exist.
Right.
So the same goes. Are they going to have quality? Not only that, when you're sending an email, we're going to talk about marketing in the next section, but when you do your own marketing, you want to send them to your website where they can hear your demos. You don't attach demos to your email. They don't want that. It's not only they don't want that, but some systems are designed that if you put in an attachment, it's going to go to their spam folder and they'll never see it. So you want to link to your website or link to your demos. So you need to have them found. So it doesn't have to be the best website. It's a living, breathing piece of information on the internet. You work with someone that I am not a great bookkeeper. I suck at SEO, but I pay people to do this, right? Like I'm a pretty good voice actor. The other stuff is I hire people because that's not my specialty, so I can focus on what I do best. So I think it's just, keep it simple, keep it findable. And if you make a mistake, fix it.
And you just said it, you just hit it out of the park for people that might be watching or looking at this on the rebroadcast of it. If you're not a webmaster, then don't try to be a webmaster. Be a voice talent, all right? And hire a professional to be your webmaster because they know the tricks of the trade. They know what to do to make sure it happens. Just like a tax consultant or bookkeeper knows how to find your deductions. You may not know that you can write off that ink cartridge as an expense in your office.
Trust an expert always.
Right?
I also just want to
say on the opposite side of the road, don't do it.
I also want to just add too, guys, don't say you're new on your website.
Oh, my
Right.
God.
I think that's an
no,
advantage.
no, don't say you're new.
Or you name
Nice, Stacey.
all us coaches. The clients don't care who we are, and they don't want to know. It's great to know your training, of course, but the clients don't want to know your training. They want to know you're working. So,
Uh-huh.
That's
for those
so
of you that are
funny.
not working, you can manufacture your website and word it just right, where it looks like you've been doing it a little while, even if you haven't. So if you ever need help, come see some of us coches and we'll help you do that. All
That's
right,
so
let's
funny.
do a name that tune.
Yeah,
Now, I
exactly. Let's
understand
do
last
that.
week's winner, no one got the song. What the heck
Crazy.
is up with that? I'm already singing the new song for this week. I'm so excited.
Well, let's go ahead and tell them what last week's song was, those 3 or 4
so
that didn't get it right.
last week's song, which no one got, and I wasn't even here for, and I would have known it, I think, is Day After Day by Badfinger.
Yep.
Now, there were some good guesses, a little out there, but there were some good guesses. So thank you guys for guessing. Keep that up. Don't be afraid. It's hard to find a song, right? Because it's not like you can just Google and go,
Right.
oh, what's that beat? What's that beat?
Very cool.
Now we have a new song clip for today.
Let's go for it. Here we go.
Are you a music buff? How good is your musical knowledge? Here's your opportunity to prove it. It's time to play Name That Tune here on VO Tubee. Name that tune correctly, and you could be our next winner. VO Tubees on VO Radio. It's here for you.
All right, so let's go for it. Here's this week's Name That Tune. Here we go. Let's see what we got here.
It's like rain on your wedding day. It's a free ride when you've already paid.
Wow. I'm telling you what, I don't know. If you've never heard that song, you have never listened to radio in the last 20 years or whatever it is.
Wait, if you haven't heard that song, that's the title of the song.
But I can't do those things.
Nice hint.
Awesome. Well, there you go. Name that tune. All you got to do is go to the website, go to the contest form, which has been reorganized. So it's easier to find now. Go to right where it says contest and pick up the VO Tubee form, fill it out, name that tune, and we'll enter you into the contest. And I believe that Deb Moreau is offering up couple weeks ago, she said she's going to offer up a contest prize. So do you have any idea what that prize is going to be this week?
Betcha. We're going to offer a downloadable workshop from Get Mic'd. And believe it or not, these are 4-hour workshops and you can still participate in the workshop. So it's just as if you were really there. We will critique your spot, everything. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the prize.
Nice.
It's so cool, man. So what do you think, guys? You want to take a quick break and then come back and share a little bit more love with people out there?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go for it. We'll be right back. Hang tight. We'll be VO Tubee. Stay tuned. More fun coming right up.
This VO Tubee is sponsored by
VO Radio would like to know, are you a fan of YouTube? Introducing VO Radio Live Tubees.
When I wake up every day, I get on YouTube and check the front page. I scroll, and what do I see? Oh, what a surprise.
Every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, VO Radio and our guest panelists will hold a live YouTube Tubee. Join us for live video discussion on YouTube as we start our series, VO Tubees. VO Radio and our new VO Tubees every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. Just search VO Radio on YouTube or check out our YouTube channel VO Radio under Live Tubees. VO Radio Live Tubees Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time.
This is Christy Bowen with the Tennessee Voiceover Studios News Minute. 158 performers are on the Emmy ballot for Best Character Voiceover Performance and Best Narrator. The finalists are chosen not by all 20,000 members of the Academy, but by the casting directors and performers branches. Nominees will be announced later in the summer. A study conducted by Blend, a localization and VO provider for IVR and text systems, found that 78.5% of respondents felt the quality of the audio, music, and the voice talent themselves to be very important or important in the customer experience. Additionally, 48% had no gender preference, but 31% did prefer a female voice. Surprisingly, 60% believed they could tell the difference between a human voice or an AI-generated voice. Nancy McKenzie, who voiced Marge Simpson for hundreds of episodes for The Simpsons Latin American version, has passed away. This has been your VO Radio Online News Minute, brought to you by Tennessee Voiceover Studios.
You've tapped the stream. This is VO Radio, something for voiceover talent of all levels all week long.
Monday.
Let's Talk VO live Mondays and Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time.
Tuesday.
Encore broadcast of Let's Talk VO live Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Live VO Tubees Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And Saturday and Sunday all day long 24/7 broadcast. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is VO Radio. Listen, learn, and win.
When I wake up every day, I get on YouTube and check the front page. I scroll, and what do I see? Oh, what a surprise.
Be sure to send your email to ask@voradioonline.com. Now it's time for this week's VO Tubee on VO Radio and YouTube.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for spending your time with us on Friday mornings at 11 till 12 Eastern time. We love giving back to the community, and we'd love to hear from you. So please remember, you can text us at 970-682-3424. I can do that with my hands because, we're on camera. So 3424. And send us emails. You can go to the website and submit a question. We're here to help you. We're here to make our community grow and make your community grow. So this is a family thing, sort of, the community thing. So let's make this happen. There's the Audition Underground. So please remember to go to the website, look up the auditions, and submit your audition. We do it on the VO Online Radio during the Monday Let's Talk VO, Mondays and Wednesdays at 5 to 6. And send it. It's free. Send in, get your critique so you can get better, or just show us and everyone listening how great you are. So let's hear from you there. Obviously, I have to thank our sponsors, the VoiceOver Resource Guide, VORG, VoiceOver Extra, and NAVA, National Association of Voice Actors. They are doing wonderful things, all of them. So thank you for supporting us so we can support you. Let's get into our topic, Now, we touched on this a couple of times, but I really want to focus perhaps on the marketing end of this a little bit, marketing/promotion. I think it's important that the way you market yourself, you only get one chance. I mean, famous expression, right? Famous statement. You only get one chance to make a good first impression. So make it count. My thing with marketing, and I'm guilty, I market a little bit, mainly because I am busy, doing other things. But you do need to market. You do need to reach out. And marketing can be as simple as reaching back to your client that hires you one and only time, keeping those lists, whether it be through your accounting software or Excel or a CRM, client relationship management program you use, whatever you use, and make a note of the last time you reached out. Now, if you don't have those lists, look in your email. They don't disappear. Go back. Now, something I do is I make a little Word document and I stick it in the folder with the client and I go, oh, their son turned 8 in 2012, whatever. And if there's something that catches my attention because we've been talking, I make a note of it. You can do that in QuickBooks. I'm sure you can do it in ways where you list the client. There's a little place that you can put stuff that no one else sees but you. You can do it in your email. Email yourself. Hey, something I found out about the client I worked to today, and save that in your folder. There's so many different ways, but I think it's important. So when you reach back, they're always saying when you blindly reach out with cold calls, find something that it's not about you. It's about them. I loved that YouTube video you did on such and such. It really hit home, maybe why, whatever you want to put. It can't be too long, but if you've got a little tidbit of information because you have worked with them once, you can follow that up and it's like instantly they're going to keep reading your email. And I think that that's one of the most basic marketing tools, is to stay informed. And it's research. Find if are they on Facebook? Is your client on Facebook? Can you find something interesting that if something happens, you can just make a note, spend an hour once a week searching different clients that you want to reach out to and see if you can find some information. We put it out there. In saying that, make sure when you put things out there that they are not something somebody can come back to you in a negative way. I said this, we did this on the VO Talk radio on Wednesday. I said, I never comment on politics. I never comment on religion. I never comment derogatory remarks. I just don't. I may have them. Gosh, we all do. I have a political opinion, but you will not know what that is. Why? Because I try to get political work, and it can really damage you. So I just want to put that out there right from the beginning. Remember, when you put your information on the web, it stays there. Yeah. So when you're starting in the voiceover industry, doesn't mean that perhaps it goes away, because it doesn't.
That's so funny. You know, Jimmy just texted in, actually. Jimmy from, I think it's AZ, Arizona.
Hi, Jimmy.
And he wrote, actually, is having business cards important today as it was in the past? What do you think about that, Deb? No, we're talking about marketing, business cards, or station, whatever wants to run with that.
I think it is, but we're not in person for a lot of things, except for a lot of conventions and things. However, I teach a course on just how to find your own work, because I don't think a lot of people want to share that information, and I do. I think it's important that we are more aggressive in finding our own work than we are waiting for work to come to us. And so in that, I would need a business card. And I don't believe in this new form, which is not new now, it's 20 years old, but I don't believe in this, what I call a new form of marketing, which is lazy. I just think it's lazy. Everybody's into internet, email. Like, listen, I get over 150 to 200 emails a day. And I'm just a talent and a coach. So imagine what the clients are getting. Imagine what the agents are getting. And so it is not always the best source. Spam, all the other things, viruses, scams. I believe, especially for the newbies, your market is what you should be hitting up, period. It's your market first. Your market first for an agent, your market first for clients. There's so many different ways that you guys can market yourself. What I beg everybody to do, especially in the beginning, I, like Bev, don't market anymore. I haven't marketed in years. I'm going to start a marketing campaign this year, which is really unique to me, because I'm going to push on a specific genre, which I've never done. I've just done everything. I'm a voice whore. I can't help it. I'll take whatever you give me. It's just the way I am. And so I will start marketing, and I know what I'm doing. I teach it, but I feel that as newbies, you should have a schedule. And I don't know your work schedule. You might work full time and have to do this on the side. I would love to see you put in 50% time to do performance skills, getting to know yourself, getting to understand how to be a voice actor. And then the other 50% of time, whether that's an hour, a half hour, or 10 or 4 hours of your day, to marketing. And marketing, it never ends. Marketing never, ever ends, which means all the stuff we were talking about before, you have to have in place first. So having your website, your business card, all that stuff. So going back to your question, sorry, the business card aspect of it, you will need it if you're doing aggressive marketing like I'm talking about. Right. But otherwise, we get a lot of these. I've got hundreds, thousands of business cards, and I keep meaning to go into them. Right. And I never do. So I feel that they are effective. However, I think top of mind, and I will go back to what Bev said and reiterate it so much. Please stop talking about you. Please ask people about them. You'll get much deeper conversations, and then they will finally ask you about you. And that's a great time to hit them up.
Yeah. And I'm curious what Stacey's thought are, because she's going to be able to address this this email that came in. We'll read here in a second from a viewer. I think that a lot of the marketing, my opinion is, and maybe Bev and Deb and Stacey and everybody watching might agree, it depends on where you're at in your career. Like you and Bev and others, like myself and others, have been blessed enough as voiceover talent and casting guys and people. we don't really have to be as aggressive. We have our own clientele. We have a major list. We have a network established, which is
But we
decades
started
old.
out that way. We always
Yeah,
had the
and so
market.
from the very beginning, when you're a new talent or an intermediate talent like Stacey Barrow, off top of mind speaking, or even a talent who has been in several years and has really not found a lot of success yet, I think marketing is more important to them than it is to people that are established and been around the block. So I think a lot of it has to do with where you're at. If you're a viewer watching, wondering, well, wait a minute, I'm not 20 years in this. So it is relevant to where you're at, your stage of your career. I'll go ahead and let Stacey give us feedback on this one. It's from Mitch in New York, and he had emailed, what social media is the best for voiceovers, and how do I best reach out to the clients that I do have in my network? Going to what you touched base on earlier, Stacey, about the networking tool of choice and all that. So what do you think? What social media is best for voiceovers? And then he wrote, and how do I reach out to my current smaller network and build it?
All from the same site.
And what's his name again?
Mitch.
Mitch. Okay. Hi, Mitch. Oh my gosh. While we're talking about so many interesting things, I'm an active listener because I don't want to miss anything, but I'm also having all these conversations with myself because I have something to say all the time about what we're talking about. I get so excited. Okay, Mitch. Well, one comment about the business card. I finally got them at the end of last year. And because I thought, if I go to a studio, if I want to visit studios, even though maybe we don't have a project together, but I want them to know me, I still want to have a card. And if I go to a convention, which maybe a gaming convention, or there's the convention coming up in LA in December, I'm equipped. I have that. So it makes me feel more professional and real. And I have my contact info on there. So that's great. We shouldn't get bogged down with the word marketing if you don't know what it is. And marketing can mean a lot of things, and we wear a lot of hats. But marketing essentially means communication. That's what it is in a nutshell. And so, Mitch, like with social media, my main squeeze is LinkedIn. As a business to business, I was so shocked that people were so open to communicating, and the sheer number of virtual coffees that I've had, because I want to get to know my connections. I want to know about them. And just like Deb said, I make it my mission to find out all about them. It's not about me when we have a virtual coffee, and not about me when I reach out. It's, I really want to get to know you more and what you do. Not just you more, what you do. And that's what works for me. And I mirror my efforts on LinkedIn, just my presence and my posts on some other social media, like Instagram is my second, and then X, and there's also Facebook. But it's just if they were searching for me, I am there, and I'll interact if somebody says something. But mainly, my main thing and the most professional people that I find are on LinkedIn. And part of my marketing is I look and see, has one of my clients or prospective client or somebody interesting to me, studios, production people, agents, whatever that is, have they posted? And then, I find what they post about interesting. I'll comment on it very authentically, and we start a conversation. And out of everything, they remember that. And then when I post, I see that they feel like they know me, and not that they owe me, but they want to participate in my post because I participate in theirs in a very real way. And we create this relationship. And I tell you what, when a project comes up, that filmmaker, that director, that producer, they're not Sony Pictures or anything, good luck with that. But these people are smaller, maybe independent. When they do something, they're going to remember you as a voice actor. So, Mitch, LinkedIn is number one. That's my number one. So hope that helps.
And as you can see, Deb Monroe just put on her headband, her Lucille Ball headband, or what that is up there. That's really cool that you say that, because basically what you're establishing is establishing a small marketing approach. You're not really hardballing them. A lot of people forget what B2B means. Let me remind you. Business to business marketing. That's what LinkedIn is. It's not a B2C, business to consumer. It's not marketing to them on Facebook, or even TikTok is really more B2C. B2B is why. Sandy actually wrote in the other night, and she was asking just this again. She's a regular listener. Hopefully you're watching out there. Why is LinkedIn so important? Can you guys explain? We didn't get around to it. That's why, because it is a B2B. It's 800, they claim, million businesses around the world. Probably 150 million of them are between Northern America in general. So B2B is very important. But the big thing that you just hit on, Stacy, and I'm going to throw this back to Bev maybe even, is don't try to sell people that you meet, right? We as coaches and trainers in my VO 101 and Devs Get Mike and Bev and other people who do coaching, we're a little bit different. We're not just voice talent networking with potentially other businesses. We're kind of networking to voice talent for some of our services as well. So our marketing is a little bit more sales, a little more different, a little bit different approach. But the reality is, when I establish a relationship, every day we get 10, 15, if not 20, 25 requests to be part of the network that I run, 3 or 4 of the groups I have. And I'll disqualify some of them if I know they're only trying to sell me. If they sell life insurance, I'll look at their profile. If they have anything about them in voice acting, voiceover or something, I'll accept them. If I know they're just trying to get in my group to sell my listener base or my group membership, I will say no, decline or whatever. So what I'm getting with that is, like you just touched base on, if you touch base with somebody on LinkedIn and that person and you establish a friendship and a rapport, and you talk back and forth about your desires, that you both love German Shepherds, like I know Stacy does. She has like 17 of them, I think, or whatever. If they love dogs and you love dogs, then there's no reason to talk about that. For example, Howard Hullen, who's a regular listener, and he worked with me at VO 101. He's a retired NASA, literally, rocket scientist, literally. And he is big into aerial. He loves drones and aerial photography stuff with his drones. Because of that, he establishes relationships with people that are into the same kind of world. But the catch is they own companies and they need a voice talent. There may be videographers and drone guys, but they're not voice talent. So he opens the door up that way. So like you said on just Stacey, sometimes it's just a matter of having a coffee and getting to know that person instead of accepting them and private message them. Hey, by the way, I want to tell you everything I can do for you. Sell, 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 sell. Here's my 85 lines of what I can do for you as a, no, they're voice talent too. They're
It's
clients.
gimme. Take instead of give.
Exactly.
And it turns people off. Nothing will turn them off faster
Definitely
than that.
does. Bev, what's your thought about it?
I said it before, social media, I agree with LinkedIn, but do your homework, and that's all part of it, right? So Mitch, great question, but yeah, LinkedIn is the way to go. Jimmy, I just want to touch on, do you need a business card? And I just want to say, for all of you that are perhaps at conferences, you don't need to give them to other talent. You can if you want, but really they're to go to people that you want to get work from. So, but ask first. I'm just gonna, we need to wrap this up and go to break, but ask first. Is it okay if I give you a business card? Because if they say, you know what, I just email me. But it's polite to ask first.
That's nice.
I definitely agree with that for sure. And we do have to run the break. We're going to come back and wrap up this VO Tubee. But I will definitely say there's no doubt at all that people sometimes misuse their marketing. They try to hard sell instead of just try to open up and establish, like Stacey said, a communication or relationship with someone and start from there. And that's where ultimately people they fail in their marketing approach, is they, especially on LinkedIn, we're talking about, they try to automatically go out there and stand around selling each other. Everybody's standing around selling each other. The reality is you're maybe joining the wrong groups. Don't join a voiceover group if you're a voiceover artist. Yes, it's nice to be on there, but join an advertising group, join a marketing group, join an automotive group, join a sports enthusiast group.
Use your background.
Exactly right.
Have you're offering conversations where you have value.
Absolutely right. Hey, let's take a quick break and we're going to come back and just wrap things up.
This VO Tubee is sponsored by
the darkest hour when the night unfolds. I'm a lioness ready to take control.
Hi, I'm Bev Standing, a voice actor in Canada, and I started my journey in the VO world in 2008 and have not looked back.
No one can hold me down.
if you want to talk to me personally about coaching, just message me at bev@bevstanding.com, or you can contact me through my website, bevstanding.com.
No second guessing.
Hi, I'm Xavier Paul Cadeau at XavierGreatVoice.com. And for the past 10 years, I've been having an amazing voiceover career journey, and I want you to join me. In my training, we tap into spiritual principles that relate to voice, speech, and body to truly take your reads to the next level. Everybody's asking for authenticity these days, yet the road to get there seems to be shrouded in confusion. Contact me today at XavierGreatVoice.com, and let's get you started on the journey your voice wants to take you on.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land, seriously far, like out of this world far, there were two beautiful storytellers on a quest to change the vibration of the planet with the mic as their weapon. They set forth into the forgotten wasteland of lost celebration, taking on talent big and small to inspire the world. Empower and prepare yourselves for a different kind of vocal training experience. The Get Mic'd team. GetMic'd.com.
I'm Dawn Harvey, and I'm a voiceover artist, specializing in long-form narration, audiobooks, animation, and video games. If you're looking for a versatile performer with a huge toolbox full of voices, accents, and characters, please check out my demos at dawnofvoice.com. Or if you're looking for audiobook coaching or directing, I'd love to help you with that too. You can reach me at Dawn, that's D-A-W-N, at dawnofvoice.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to VO Radio.
Street Smart Coaching. That's what you get at VO 101. Hi, I'm Anthony Reese, 35-year veteran, casting director, producer, and voiceover coach here at VO 101. Whether a beginner or veteran voice talent, you'll find everything you need to get your career started or take your career to the next level. Training, website design, YouTube channel creation, voiceover demos, video demos, a free evaluation, and even a free training area. Get Street Smart Coaching at VO 101. That's VO101.com. VO101.com. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is VO Radio. Listen, learn, and win.
When I wake up every day, I get on YouTube and check the front page. I scroll, and what do I see? Oh, what a surprise.
Be sure to send your email to ask@voradioonline.com. Now it's time for this week's VO Tubee on VO Radio and YouTube.
All right, we're back at it, wrapping things up. I'm going to go around the horn like we do on Let's Talk VO Mondays and Wednesdays at 5 Eastern Time. I also want to remind you before I do so that if you're listening to this live or watching this live on YouTube, not only mark your calendar for every Friday at 11 a.m. because we have all kinds of great shows in store and special guests we're currently lining up to be more involved in the show in the future too. But I also want to remind you, next Wednesday, the 14th, is our big Champion Award show. We're giving away the VO Radio Champion Awards to our winners who have already been notified. They all are thrilled that they've been nominated and won an award. And I think there's 8 of them, if I remember correctly. I think we have 8 winners we selected. So we're going to give out all 8 awards next Wednesday between 5 and give or take 6:15, 6:20 Eastern Time. So make sure to tune in to Let's Talk VO and help us congratulate our industry champions who deserve everything they're getting. You wouldn't believe some of the stories of some of these people shared with us about these champions we've selected. So, all right, let's wrap things up. So we want to do a quick summary, a recap, if you will, starting with Deb Monroe. Deb, why don't you give us a little bit of a small, quick recap of what they take away from today's show as far as business tools go overall?
Sure. I think understanding that this is a business, you're creating a business, is the most important thing to understand. And that's going to take a learning curve. And that sucks because y'all just want to act like chipmunks and make funny voices. But it is the make or break for a talent. It really is. Back in the day, you could have started as someone in that major market and made a whole career out of it. But in today's time, that is not the case. So you really have to be aggressive in your business. You have to know what you're doing and don't portray yourself as a newbie. Lots of stuff to take from today. There's way more. And we also have some downloadable products and stuff that will help you with your marketing, branding, and all the business stuff we talked about today. So make sure you guys are getting a hold of us for any help you need.
Awesome. And don't forget, make sure that you play that name, that tune with the correct answer to today's song and artist combination. And you're going to win a Get Mic'd 4-hour workshop course, right? Is that how you say it?
Take the marketing one.
There you go. Good point. Stacey Barrow, top of mind. Stacey, what are your thoughts about what you share about today's topic business for anybody out there 2 or 3 years into their career or just starting into their career?
You're muted, honey. You're so cute when you're muted, though. I love it. I'm gonna lip flap you. I'm gonna mimic Stacy. Well, really, what it is I'm sweet and I'm lovely and I'm the best horse.
I'm the teenager
ever lover in the
around
world.
here.
There she is.
Oh my God. And that's so fun. That hasn't happened to me in a while. And it's like I'm in slow motion trying to get the cursor over there. You know, it's like, like Deb said, being new is not a bad thing. It just means it's like a red flag that means you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You know? And so, you know, they may not, they probably won't want to waste their time with you. That sounds horrible, but you know what I mean? They need to do their project and they need someone who knows what's going on. So just pretend that you know what's going on and go forward. You don't have to announce that you're new.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, vague about your experience. And the other thing is that we touched upon, you are your brand. And yeah, I have marketing experience, but I always marketed somebody else and something else, not myself. So it felt totally different. So again, like Bev and everybody said, your presence on social media and who you are, you're always marketing yourself. So that foot that you put forward, make it your best one. And just because your voiceover is by Stacey over here and maybe Stacey Barrow over there in the other Instagram world, remember, you're one and the same. And what you do represents all of you.
Awesome. See what you're getting here watching this VO Tubee. I mean, this is wisdom, man, gold. I'm telling you what, I wish I would have had this resource when I was first starting out 20,000 years ago, because I had to go out and had to literally buy lunches and buy dinners, send pizzas out, do all kinds of things to get people to even take a few minutes and talk to me. But now it's like, it's right here, click on the mouse and you're able to access literally 500 or 700 years of wisdom. If you collectively add up all our career times, you're talking about thousands of years collectively here of people in this business. Bev Standing, what's your final thoughts about what they can take away today? What you're thinking?
I feel that it's, you know, I talked about marketing and whatnot, and I talked about what you shouldn't say on the internet and stuff, and we talked about on your website. I think it's important to everything we do for them. That is our job. We are in the service industry in that respect. So if you're going to share a video that you are, quote, allowed to share, make sure with your client. I mean, if it's on YouTube or it's on iSpot TV, that's, you know, public domain. But if it isn't, you need to ask if you can share it. And then if you share it, give them credit. It was you know, you're a team. You're not an individual player. And this show is not an individual show. We are a team of a number of different people that you'll see in and out through, I'll say it Canadian one more time, in and out. On Fridays and on Mondays and Wednesdays, we have different people all the time. So keep listening, stay current. The information is good. It's here. It's from established talent. And, you know, with respect to the new, it's all how you tell the truth. I am a professional. I have demos and I can provide a service for you. Nobody says, I'm going to buy these jeans. Well, if they've been making them for 50 years, they might have made them last week, but they're great.
That's true. That's true.
No? So yeah,
believe in it to sell it.
And be found. If you're in a retail store and they have grocery stores, dollar stores, doesn't matter. They tell you what's down that aisle. So be clear, make it easy for them to find you. And that's my tip for the day.
There you go. Great advice. Great advice. Hey, I want to remind everybody again before we wrap up, every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, as you've heard, is our VO Tubee series every Friday, 11 Eastern time. Make sure to tune in Monday at 5 o'clock Eastern time for Let's Talk VO. And then Wednesday for our Let's Talk VO Champion Award giveaway show. We're really excited about that. It's been like 2 months now. We can't wait for that. We were going to get some calls from from One Voice today, but unfortunately, I think time difference being 11 Eastern, they weren't even out of their hotel rooms yet. Probably a lot of the people, I'm sure they partied pretty late last night. So hopefully we'll give a couple calls in. We can drop them down on tape and we can actually run those back during our show Monday, maybe. I also want to let you know that speaking of credit, I've had people ask, did you guys record that jingle about the YouTube song, whatever? Actually, that is Dave Days, believe it or not. He's a big influencer on the YouTube.
Awesome.
At least he was. And he wrote that song years ago.
To ask.
We
awesome.
loved it. We loved it enough to make it our, if you will, theme song. So that I wake up YouTube thing, whatever. That's Dave Days. If you want to check him out on YouTube, really cool, really good artist. He's really alternative sounding. He reminds you of that throwback to early Green Day type stuff, whatever. So credibility. Hey, thank you so much for being part of today's VO Tubee. We're going to be back again next week. So mark your calendars and we shall see you guys real soon. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Happy voicing.